Yo, what is up, boys? Welcome back to another stream/video. Today we're reacting to Gigguks, Garant's reaction or tiering of the One Piece arcs. Let's see if we agree or disagree. Everyone argue in the comments. That way this video takes off. Alright, let's go.
Oh, the hype! The fucking hype! Oh my god, that is an A-tier moment. I'm done. I'm done.
I'm excited to see this. I've been wanting to watch this, but I've been holding off to do it with the boys.
What we're going to be doing today is we are going to be ranking every
Come aboard and bring along all your hopes and dreams. Yes, I could sing. Alright, wait, where is he in One Piece?
To the entirety of One Piece.
God damn.
Purely from the manga. I've almost completely caught up to the manga. It's hype as fuck.
Did you just say almost? Almost caught up? Puh. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay, I need to get this off my chest. I guess we're just going to go in the order that is given for us. So, the One Piece arcs go from...
So we're not going chronological. We're starting with Drum Island. Interesting.
Absolutely amazing, peak manga, to kind of mediocre-ish.
Ready for this? Ready for this? Next you will say that Drum Island was good. It had emotional moments, but Wapol sucked. 3, 2, 1, go!
Some arcs are just a bit more of a slog, but I don't believe like any arcs is worth like dropping over or worth like completely skipping.
I agree.
Especially since we've gotten to the point where there could be like one piece of fucking foreshadowing that Oda put in there that like foreshadowed the shit that's going on now. Luffy could be taking a shit and like 1,000 chapters later, it could be like the Stinky Poo Poo Island arc. Past Oda to fucking do that. Gomu Gomu no Poo Poo. I'm a fucking child. I'm an absolute fucking child. And another thing is that I don't know how good my memory is on a lot of these arcs, but let's just get it started. So the first we got Drum Island. Ooh, okay. Even though we're ranking it S to D, I don't believe that D means bad. Is it a B or a C? I'll put it in B for now. When I think back to One Piece and the Drum Island,
I think I'd give it a C. As much as I love it, and like him climbing that mountain was so dramatic and emotional, and Dr. Helok's speech and the backstory and all that, it's like compared to everything else in One Piece, it's a C.
arc in particular. I think back to Chopper's flashback and backstory. There are a lot of lines that stick out to me in One Piece, but one line that has always remained with me was when the doctor
people aren't killed when they die,
and he says people don't die when they're shot or when they eat a mushroom or when they're food poisoned or whatever. They don't die when they're forgotten. Fuck, I just became a Fate fan for a second. They don't die when they're shot or they eat a mushroom. They die when they're forgotten. I still remember that line to this day. It's like such a beautiful line, and like the lead up to that moment, absolutely fucking beautiful. The reason it's a B, I believe like a lot of early One Piece arcs suffer from a similar issue. The villain looks so beatable. Wapol was like a mid as fuck villain. He was designed to be hated, and that he certainly did his job. But also, he was weak as fuck. There was never a doubt that Luffy was going to defeat him. Now that I think about it, there's not a lot that really stands out to me about Drum Island, aside from the flashback and the point where Chopper joins the Straw Hats. Might be a C. I'll put it down.
Oh! I pretty much called everything that he said. I said, oh, B's a little high, C. It's gonna be emotional moments, but Wapol sucks. Next is Alabasta. Let me think. Let me get into the mind of Garant. I feel like Garant's gonna give it an A, when in reality it deserves an S.
One Piece based on everything in itself. My problem with that is that I barely remember lore details.
Like Crocodile. Okay, let me let him finish when he's talking about Drum Island. Sorry, I'm getting too ahead of myself. I'm too excited.
Being dropped. There's only like a few arcs that are really overall lore heavy. And I feel like that mostly plays a part post-time skip, because I think that pre-time skip One Piece, you can judge a lot of these within its own bubble. I think Drum Island works as a fantastic story, as a standalone story. And having said that, also Alabasta as well. Alabasta S tier.
Let's go!
Alabasta is one of my favorite arcs.
What a fucking
Alabasta
Chad.
well as a standalone story, and
like I just love the fact that one, all the Straw Hats had like a good fight, like Sanji versus Bon Clay. You had Usopp and Chopper versus those two guys, which was a sick team battle, and like honestly got super invested in that. You had Zoro really like taking his next step forward and fighting someone made of steel and like having to like surpass his limits. So crazy fight after crazy fight after crazy fight. You fall in love with Vivi in this arc. Crocodile's a fucking Chad and like just absolutely shits on Luffy, which we see Luffy get shit on, but not to that extent where he literally loses like 3 times. It was a fantastic arc with a good, solid build-up. Like, Alabasta is a fucking saga. Saga, not an arc. But also, just the Alabasta arc itself is good. I'll let Gigguk talk. My bad.
As a One Piece story as well. I've often said this, but if Alabasta was its own anime, you got like an episode or two to like set the scene and set the premise of Alabasta in like a standalone 26 episode seasonal anime, it would be like contender for anime of the year. It was the first time I felt like a villain was truly threatening to Luffy.
Let's go.
Crocodile was so much swag. It was the first time
Based
where you saw a
take.
villain and you're like, fucking hell, this guy is a badass. Holy fuck. You go from the villains that were like introduced in East Blue and like the Grand Line before, and you're like who is this guy? Arlong who? Crocodile was someone who was built up and he very much met the hype.
Arlong Park is an insanely good arc. And I think Arlong is a good villain.
And another thing that was incredible was...
I wasn't fully listening, so maybe that's not exactly what he said. I was trying to fix something with my stream.
Nice addition to not only the Straw Hat crew, but because of how involved she was within the wider Alabasta story arc, it just got me more invested. Seeing her so desperate to stop what happened in Alabasta, seeing her just love her country and trying so hard for it, is just... Oh my god. I remember moments, and I remember how much arcs stood out to me at the time. One Piece is like 1,000 chapters long. There's a lot of details that you can forget. When I think back to One Piece, right now, I judge it on the moments I remember. And
same, dude. I have the memory of a goldfish, and I still remember so many highlights in like each of these arcs from like that I read like 10 years ago.
Alabasta is right up there as one of the arcs that I remember the most, because I remember how much I absolutely love Alabasta. Alabasta's final farewell. That will stick with me. Jaya.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
This is hard to judge because Jaya is such a short arc, so I feel like it's unfair to judge it based on other arc because it should just be with the Skypiea arc, right? Having said that, I really liked Jaya. Like, if I'm going for enjoyment of Jaya, it would be an A, because that moment with Bellamy, holy...
I was gonna say that, like, we get a nice interaction between Luffy and Blackbeard. We have the interaction in the bar with Zoro and Luffy against Bellamy and stuff. And then we have the final hit on Bellamy. And Jaya with a nice setup and had a decent backstory leading in to Skypiea. I think B is fair, but I could see why. I would want to give it an A just for the interaction of Luffy and Blackbeard. The Age of Dreams will never end.
Holy fuck, man. That is an A-tier moment. It's not just Bellamy. It is the Blackbeard speech.
Let's go.
Two major moments in like a very, very small arc. And I feel like Jaya was the first time, you know that moment in every shonen anime where the villain underestimates the character's power level, or the character's like secretly hiding the power level. I loved how One Piece actually did it. Not with like a power scale reveal, but by bounty levels. Bounty levels is such a, like a unique way to power scale in One Piece. And I love the way that instead of having like an A tier or an S tier or whatever, just having a price tag.
Can someone say something in chat so we could see if my chat box thing is working? Someone say something. I don't know why it's not working. Now I lost it again. Holy fuck me. There we go. It's there. If we bring it up. Transform. Reset transform. Oh, there we go. Now people are saying things. Do I have the wrong chat box? I have multiple? I can't find it. No way. Where is it? There it is. There we go. Thank you, guys. I figured it out. Thank you for the bits, man.
Test chat box.
No, I was looking for mine. I still know where to put it. To put it here, I'll make it small. There we go.
that equates to how much of a threat the government sees you is just such a unique way. A lot of power levels don't make sense because you can literally tier shonen characters and there'll always be that one character who's secretly more powerful than a power level, or that one character who's secretly like a weakling or something, you know what I mean? In One Piece it makes sense because bounties aren't a direct indicator of strength. There's more factors to it than that. It's just a rough indicator of strength though, because if someone has a fucking high bounty, they're powerful. Someone can be of equal level but have a higher bounty, but be more of a threat to the world government. So I think it's like such a unique way to power scale. I would say this, I prefer Jaya more than like Skypiea. Skypiea is like a solid B for me. Jaya set the standard for Skypiea a little bit too high because I saw the Bellamy punch. I'm like, fucking yes, I'm fucking hyped to go to Skypiea. And Skypiea was good. From what I remember, there was just like a lot of moments that dragged in Skypiea for me. I don't know if the pacing is different from the manga because everything before Marineford, I watched the anime. I really liked NL. I really liked.
Yeah, that was kind of me with a lot of things. So I read the entire manga. Like I reread the entire manga after watching like 850 episodes of the anime, or maybe more. I watched all of Dressrosa. Dressrosa lasted all of high school for me. I started watching high school in grade 9, and I'm sitting there in grade 12, like still watching fucking Dressrosa as it's coming to an end. I mean, this is absolutely nutty. I'm like, this arc sucked. And then I rewatched it. I'm like, this arc's unreal. And then I reread it. I'm like, this is the greatest arc of all time. So I watched all that in the anime, and I have a similar opinion with Skypiea, like kind of dragging and just not being as like Jaya set it up. That's a solid take. But then I reread it. I'm like, I like Skypiea because it was just shorter. And you know what's funny? Long Ring Long Land, which is next on his list, absolute banger in the manga. So funny, quick, entertaining, a good time. In the anime, there's like they made what already felt like a filler arc. They added more filler to a fucking filler arc is what it feels like, you know?
Like the fact that Haki was introduced, but aside from like the flashback and like the Golden Bell moments, I don't remember a lot about it. Poneglyphs isn't a moment. Poneglyphs is just lore. I'm trying to judge each arc as much as possible within its own bubble. I'm going to be saying this a lot for pre-time skip arcs. I might factor it more during post-time skip arc because that's where you actually get payoff. I'm looking for payoff. That's what I'm looking for. Moving on. Long Ring Long Land.
There's an insane Sanji moment where he takes a blast from Enel. That's one moment in Skypiea I really, really love. But I agree, there's a lot of stuff I just don't care about in Skypiea.
This is probably my least favorite arc of One Piece. It's pretty easy. The only thing that really stands out...
No! Long Ring Long Land is at least a B.
Was when Aokiji was
giving it a B, baby, all day long.
The entire ocean. Holy fucking shit. There was no better way.
Long Ring Long Land, giving it a B. I'd rather watch that shit than Skypiea. I'm gonna give it an A.
Introduced how strong admirals were.
Nah, I give it a B. Compared to other arcs, I give it a B.
That one scene, it like blew my mind when I first saw it because I'm just like, that's the power ceiling that Luffy has to reach? Aside from that, I don't really remember a lot of it. It's my least favorite arc. Moving on, Water 7, easy S tier. Easy S tier. And while we're at...
Yeah, no, Reed. Definitely don't watch it. He watched it, and that's why he gave it this rating. I completely understand why he gave it the rating. Because when I watched it, I'm like, this fucking sucks. But when you read it, it's actually a solid arc.
That's it, Ennis Lobby. I guess I gotta start with Water 7. I don't know why this is counted as two different arcs when they're both like the same arc. Before I start talking...
AKA a saga.
Post Ennis Lobby, that's its own arc. I'm gonna treat all this as the same because I don't know what the difference is between...
I feel like when you try to separate it, it's like, oh, maybe Water 7's an A and Ennis Lobby's like an S. But then when you put it all together, it's good because it should, like, I don't even know how to describe it. Wow, I used words so well there. I don't know how to describe it, but I completely agree. When you put it all together, it is beautifully set up and very similar to the Alabasta. I would put it in S tier as well.
In post Ennis Lobby and just Ennis Lobby. Here's another reason why I'm not trying not to factor like a lot of the lore dumps into the individual arcs. Like one of my favorite parts of One Piece, you know that moment after every arc, you get a flash of what everyone else is doing in the world and bounties get updated and stuff like that. That's like one of my favorite moments in like One Piece. I group in with the arc that preceded it. If post Ennis Lobby is just what happens post Ennis Lobby, then this is I just put it in with Ennis Lobby itself. Water 7 is fucking incredible. This has been by far the biggest conflict we've had.
Yeah, one of the coolest things about One Piece is that the rest of the world is also moving and things are happening while we're watching the Straw Hats do their thing. So finding out what happened elsewhere in newspapers or finding out people's bounties and stuff is always top tier.
the crewmates. You had Luffy versus Usopp. We all knew the outcome of that battle, but it didn't make it any less emotional.
It's top 3 fights in One Piece right there. Luffy versus Usopp's top 3 fights in One Piece.
There's so many moments that hit me in this arc, and that is one of the moments that really stands out. The thing that shocked me the most...
Well, you also had saying goodbye to the Going Merry in this arc. R.I.P. It wasn't just a ship, bro.
About that, it didn't even occur to me that the crew could have a conflict together. Before Water 7, you just always felt that this was like a happy-go-lucky series. It was like a good feeling show, aside from like when they fight a villain or whatever's going on in the wider world or in flashbacks. But you felt like the crew was tight. Before the fight, I just remember the tension building up, and it was the point where like Sanji, when he kicked Luffy, I'm just like, fuck, man. I felt bad. I was gonna say like Frankie and Robin's backstory, which at the time I thought it was like one of the saddest backstories in One Piece so far. I don't know if that still holds true. Even after that, you had everything going on with Nico Robin.
Dude,
seeing her character development. And
how crazy was that moment where Usopp or Sogeking, my bad, I don't know how I could possibly mistake them for being the same person, shot down the flag after Robin says, "I want to live," waging war with the world government. Is still one of the most badass moments like in anime. Also, Sogeking on top of the tower, sniping from like 1,000 meters away, just singing his own theme song is gold.
Her character shift from being this like cold-hearted woman who was
Lulu la la lu,
seeing her properly.
I want to live.
But wanting to be a part of the crew. You saw Robin being one of the Straw Hats in this arc, and seeing that turn was so emotionally gratifying. The "I want to live" line, holy, oh my, I need to step back. I need to step back for a second. I'm getting emotional, guys. I'm getting emotional.
Yeah, it was really, really like well done, the writing, where it's like Robin herself made us think like she just doesn't want to be accepted. And then you realize she was just never accepted in her entire life. People were constantly trying to kill her. Her entire family and village was wiped out. And she just couldn't trust people. And anyone that she did trust would end up like getting kind of in the crossfire as well. And she just didn't want to be responsible for like people that she cares about like getting taken down. And then like finally relying on someone. Even it's very similar to what happened with Nami as well. This finally like relying on Luffy, it just hits you in the heart. It hits you in the feels. Her saying "I want to live," Luffy putting that straw hat on Nami is just too good.
We're talking about this. I had so many fucking emotions. You got to obviously that. You're crying. But before that, Sogeking, shoot the flag. Oh, the hype, the fucking hype.
Let's go.
And like that walk up to the face-off against the CP9, chills, man, chills. Not only that, you had them just declaring war against the world government. We went from like a PogChamp moment to a Bible thump moment within the space of like a few panels. But guys, it doesn't end there. You want more? How about Gear 2nd Luffy? How about Gear 3rd Luffy? In one fucking arc. Do you know what's incredible? I've said all this.
I thought Gear 3rd when the first time I saw it was lame. Hot take, I know, but like, I mean, now when I see it, or like when I see like the variations of it, I think it's cool. But the first time I saw it, I'm like, oh, that was lame.
I fanboyed this much. I don't even know if it is the best arc of all time of One Piece. The fact that Oda can drop this and be like, nah, wait a minute, we've got more coming. Just says so fucking much, but it's definitely in the top 5. Romance Dawn, I feel like it's a C. It sets the stage, yeah, but there's not really much I remember about it. I mean, it just introduces Luffy, it introduces Shanks, introduces Zoro, and...
Bruh. I don't think I could give anything in One Piece a C or a D. Like that moment where the guy has a gun to Shanks' head, and then he's like, so you drew your weapon. That means you're like prepared to like use it, right? And then he's like, guns aren't for threats, they're for actions. And boom, his boy shoots the guy in the head. Because if you're prepared to take someone's life, that means you're prepared to lose your life as well. And it was just such a sick moment. And like the whole contrast between like if someone like spills a drink on you, or like even like laughs at you, makes fun of you, spits on you, demeans you, it's like it's not worth killing the guy or getting into a fight. He's like he's the bigger person. But you talk shit about my friends, or you do something to my friends, the people I care about, well, now you're dead. So fucking badass. Him getting his arm eaten makes no sense. Him getting his arm eaten and saying, hey, I have another one, fucking badass.
Nami and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a C. I don't really have much to say about this. Orange Town D-tier. It's my second least favorite arc.
Orange Town kind of sucks.
I just didn't think that Buggy was all that interesting a villain. And
at the time, Buggy's like top 3 favorite characters in One Piece. But at the time, I agree. Orange Town kind of sucked.
Of Orange Town, he won me over. A lot of you guys are judging this retroactively. Buggy gets to be like a more interesting character later on in the series. You know, I'm not going to deny that. But at the time of the arc, like when you're first getting into One Piece, he's I was gonna call him a clown. I'm done.
Hey,
Buggy review over.
did you
Buggy
just
review
make a
over.
comment
He's
about
literally a
Buggy's
clown.
nose?
Literally.
I'm gonna hit you with that Buggy
I feel
bomb.
this way about a lot of early One Piece arcs, where I don't think they're bad, but especially Orange Town and especially Syrup Village. Those are the
Syrup
arcs that
Village
make it,
sucks.
harder for people to get into One Piece, because
Yeah.
those are the arcs where you find elements where I could understand. Like, you know, Buggy was just like an annoying clown. I can understand if new readers are like, I found Usopp really annoying. I get the whole point of why Usopp lies and everything like that. It was like a nice little touch to his character with the backstory and everything, but he was like pretty damn annoying in Syrup Village. He's a fucking god now. You know, he's a fucking god, but I felt like his backstory was weaker than the backstory of some of the other Straw Hat crews. And I don't think Kuro was a good villain as well. To me, Orange Town and Syrup Village is some of the more forgettable moments of One Piece, and I feel like it's those two arcs in particular that are responsible for maybe putting a lot of people off One Piece to begin with. You know that
100%. It's like, oh, it's 1,000 episodes. If I'm gonna watch it, it better be good. You start watching it, you're like, oh, the first 3 were all right. Oh, 4 through 17 kind of sucked. And then they drop it. Meanwhile, Baratier is up next, and it's absolutely fire.
where One Piece fans are like, it gets better in like 50 episodes. I think a lot of that is to do with just how Orange Town and Syrup Village is. And then,
You just gotta get from episode 19, the start of Baratier, to episode 44, the end of Arlong Park. Those 2 arcs will get you into One Piece. And if they don't, One Piece isn't for you, and that's fine. I mean, some people say you got to get to Alabasta. I disagree. You see what One Piece is all about. You get good backstories in the Baratier and in Arlong Park. You get emotional moments. You get badass fights. You get amazing character interactions. You get it all. Baratier is one of my favorite arcs. It's the arc that got me into One Piece. I love Sanji. His backstory was crazy. You see Mihawk show up and slice ships in half. You see Zoro fight Mihawk and then lose and pronounce to Luffy and to himself that he's never going to lose to again until he becomes the greatest swordsman. You see Luffy fight and everyone's and Zeph's commentary, like, this is like, don't take your eyes off him for a second. Fighting someone who has no fear, not even fear of death, what's it called, is like no other. And it was an insane, like, you see how big the world could be when someone like Don Krieg is, when, well, one, you see Mihawk, but also someone like Don Krieg with 50,000 fucking, or was it 5,000 crewmates or something, or like, I don't remember the exact thing. Literally couldn't last 7 days in the Grand Line. And that's where Luffy and Zoro are going, or the boys want to go. Unreal. I don't think Don Krieg is a top 3 villain. I think he's an alright villain at best, but everything else about Baratier is fantastic.
we get to Barati, either B or C for me. I'm gonna put it B. Barati, I think, yeah, was
A.
better than Drum Island. A lot of One Piece fans talk about
Better
how
than
Arlong
Skypiea.
is the
A.
turning point for when One Piece, you know, gets.
Just put everything in S. Put everything in S or else I won't be happy.
I really think that was Barati. I think Barati is when One Piece gets good. Arlong is when you see some amazing moments in One Piece. Like, Arlong is when you see One Piece's first
Yo, thanks for the biddies,
Seeing
V-Juice
even
Box.
Alex CNDR get into One Piece, the guy who memmed, he'd never read it and actually like it.
Well, everyone
Means
who
One
reads it
Piece
will
is
like
something unreal.
it. Like 99% of people will.
amazing moments. But there are still like some really, really good fucking moments in Barati. Obviously, you have Sanji's backstory and you have Mihawk. Thinking back now, like Mihawk might even push Barati into A.
Let's go.
The Mihawk moment, I think, was the
Do it.
moment that
Do
sold me on One Piece.
Please.
Here's how amazing the Mihawk moment was. It sold me on One Piece in the 4Kids dub. You know a moment must be fucking amazing if it sold me during the fucking 4Kids dub. But I'm going to keep it in B just for now, just in case there are a lot of A tier stuff that I'm forgetting with other arcs. B is for Barati. Barati is when One Piece gets good. But then Arlong Park is when One Piece has its first...
He better mention the walk to Arlong Park. I know he's going to mention the straw hat moment where he puts it on Nami's head, and it's super cool that Luffy doesn't care about Nami's past. I like her the way she is now. She's a good person. I'll fight to protect her. I want her on the crew. She's my Nakama. But like the walk to Arlong Park with that fucking music.
Absolutely killer.
Bruh.
If you don't like One Piece after Arlong Park, you probably don't like One Piece.
Ooh,
period.
good
Arlong
take,
Park
good take.
is A tier, maybe S tier. Probably A tier, just because of like the absolute standard of S tiers. So that actually worked perfectly. You got B for Barati, A for Arlong Park. The Nami moments, fucking incredible. It was the first moment in One Piece that left me speechless. There are a lot of moments in One Piece that left me speechless, but that moment where she takes a knife and she stabs the tattoo, stabs the arm. I was just completely silent. You could hear a fucking pin drop if, you know, Nami wasn't saying anything. That was the moment that sold me on just like how good One Piece could get. The only moment that's topped that kind of moment in my mind, the Nico Robin moment. And that's why Enies Lobby is in S tier. After that, that was completely followed by one of many epic walks you've seen in One Piece. Like,
let's go.
Where Luffy gives her the hat, and then you zoom out to just the squad shot. You know the fucking
I have
shot.
goosebumps.
Like,
I actually have goosebumps.
is the master at squad shots. There is no other anime that gives me the complete goosebumps as much as One Piece squad shots. Because you know why? They earn it. It's like a short burst on really what One Piece is about. Alabasta is like really, really fucking long. Arlong Park has like a really short burst of like emotional moments. It has hype moments. And it's a lot shorter than some of the longer, more epic arcs. And I remember showing Arlong Park to Sydney. And I was like, this is why I like One Piece. And she cried, she got hype, she got everything. And she's like, okay, I get it now. I get it. Moving on to Logtown. Logtown, I also think, is a B. I really enjoyed Logtown because it didn't have any like epic, super hype moments.
There's a lot of arcs in One Piece that are like, there's nothing wrong with it. But it's not as good as the other ones.
But it had like, I just enjoyed the arc, period. Not because of any major plot developments, a lot of little moments. You had Zoro, like, throwing up the sword and seeing if his arm would be cut. I fucking loved that moment. That was like a badass moment.
You have Luffy about to get executed and smiling the same way Roger did. Goosebumps. I have goosebumps talking about One Piece right now.
Iggy and her all interaction with Zoro. The clown was back. Buggy was back.
Let's go, Buggy boys.
In Orange Town, at least. Dragon first came as well. That was like an epic moment. You had Luffy redoing Gold Rogers.
And also, like, was Luffy saved by Dragon or was it fate?
Did basically on the stand. There wasn't like a single moment where I'm just like, yes, peak One Piece. But
Or was it just luck?
there was a lot of moments where I'm just like, every episode about this is enjoyable. It is a strong B for me. And you had Smoker being introduced as well, because as you guys
Another enemy where it's like, how is Luffy gonna beat him? We'll find out next time.
wrongfully tried to accuse me of, Smoker was introduced in Logtown, and I fucking love Smoker. What a badass. Reverse Island. I'm gonna put that C. I don't really remember much about Reverse Island. Laboon was just, it was an okay. It was an okay story. The most interesting thing about
So the thing about Reverse Island that like gets me so hyped. Obviously Laboon's fantastic, but the thing about Reverse Island, as they're approaching it, Zoro says it's impossible to scale that. Like that mountain. Like, how are we gonna do it? And Sanji looks and says, it's possible. And in that moment, we think nothing of it. 700 episodes later, you realize in the second half of Sanji's flashback, he scaled the fucking mountain. And that's why he knew it was possible. This man foreshadowed him scaling the mountain 700 chapters. Maybe even more in advance. Fucking legend.
Reverse Mountain for me was just learning about the Grand Line. Learning about how the Grand Line works, because, you know, the Grand Line was, like, built up as the Giga Chat.
Because he's from the North Blue. I mean, yeah, I guess that's also true. But, like, the way it was said was so particular. But that's true. I guess did he say he was from the North Blue originally, or do we find out later?
Just seeing, like, Reverse Mountain. That scene where they share their dreams, they put their legs on the keg, and they toast to it. They're going off to the ground.
How is that a plot hole? You're fucking crazy, dude. We find out in Jaya. So it was planned, not planned crazy in advance. I guess we find out in Jaya that was North Blue. But then, so it's like, oh, he dropped a little hint. And then in Jaya, a little bit later, we find out he's from the North Blue. So if you actually think about it realistically, he would have had to have crossed Reverse Mountain. And then 500 chapters later, we see how he does it. So perfectly executed and not a plot hole. Actually, in fact, good writing, V-Juice Box. Get slammed on.
And Line, that was like the most interesting part for me. And seeing how complicated it was to navigate the Grand Line. You know, that all of that was interesting to me. It feels more like a transition arc rather than a full-on arc itself. So that's why it goes to C. Then we have Whiskey Peak. You know what? I'm going to do something crazy, guys. I'm going to do something crazy. I'm going to put it in B. We're going by enjoyment, right?
I don't even remember Whiskey Peak.
As much as Logtown. Do you know why? We got to see Zoro be a fucking Chad, and that was just so fun to watch. Seeing Zoro...
I don't even remember this. What the fuck is Whiskey Peak?
On like the 100 Assassins or whatever, that was so much fun. It doesn't mean much in the wider world of things. Zoro taking on Baroque Works was just really, really, really fun. I think one of my favorite scenes with Zoro, when he was like fighting the 100 people, he faces off against Miss Monday. I'm like, oh, a challenger has appeared. Cuts to the next shot. Zoro just like got her fucking face in her fist, and she's like screaming in pain. I'm like, what a fucking chat. It was just fun. I don't know. It was just fun. Moving on to
I'm Goldfish Briggs.
Garden went on for a bit too long in my opinion. It's a C for me. I don't know if
okay. I don't remember their two names, but those two giants were great. The interactions between Sanji and Zoro, and just like hating each other, but like competing in like a fun, friendly way, was good. Zoro willing to take off his own leg was pretty good. We get the reveal of Mr. Prince for the first time, I believe, which is another insane foreshadow for Sanji. Just saying, spoilers, he's a fucking prince.
Opinion would change if I read the manga. I just felt like it was a bit Whiskey Peak was kind of like a throwaway island for the first Grand Line. That was like a very short arc. Little Garden, was it the first big island? Because it was before. Yeah, before.
V-Juice Box. If he says a line that it's possible, and then Jaya, which is not very long later, we find out he's actually from the North Blue. It's like clearly it's planned. Because if you actually look at the map, it's like it's literally, unless he crossed the calm belts, I believe. Wait, no, the red line goes all the way across the world. So regardless if he crossed the calm belts, in order to get to the East Blue, he would have had to scale the Grand Line. I mean the red line, like the reverse mountain. So that's not too crazy. It's only like 100 chapters. 2.5 years. That's nothing. And then what? Like 500 chapters later, we get the actual flashback where he shows us him doing it. I feel like he had Sanji properly planned since the beginning. Genuinely.
It was before Drum Island. Yeah, and it just...
Well, I think in Little Guard, he hangs up the phone and calls himself Mr. Prince against Crocodile. But then we get the great reveal in Alabasta. Right?
Didn't meet my expectations, I guess. Looking back, I'm like, how the fuck did they have such a hard time with Mr. 3? The Giants were the thing that I liked the most out of Little Garden. Like, I loved their backstory. I loved them as characters. So, we get to Thriller Bark. This one's hard. Here's how I see Thriller Bark. Thriller Bark is a C-tier arc with A to S-tier moments in it. That's how I see Thriller Bark.
100%. It's not that great. I'm not in love with it. But there's every One Piece arc has good moments. It's impossible not to.
So do I just...
Nothing happened, bro. Nothing happened in Thriller Bark. That's all I have to say.
Take an average and go B tier, or do I judge it on the moments that define it? I'm going to go on the moments that define it. Some of the moments in One Piece have been in Thriller Bark. It's not all bad, but I don't think that Thriller Bark even got like remotely interesting until they started fighting, was it Oars? There was like one moment that stood out before the Oars fight, and that was Luffy putting the zombie back down.
That was funny.
Before the Oars fights. There wasn't really anything about the arc that stood out to me. I thought Gecko Moria was really disappointing as a Shichibukai. It was a slog to get through a lot of this arc. Having said that, obviously the Zoro moment. As you can see with Whiskey Peak, I am a Zoro simp. My fucking god. Like, to me, that Zoro moment with Kuma and just the nothing at all.
I guess you guys could tell that I'm a Sanji simp, right, boys? I mean, I love Zoro. At one point in the story, Zoro was my favorite. But now it's Sanji and Buggy.
Me, like, shot Zoro up as my favorite One Piece crewmate. If Zoro needed to stamp his authority on just absolutely how much of a Giga Chad he is, that was the moment that did it. It not only showed how badass he is, but it also shows how loyal he is.
I mean, Zoro's also top 5. Come on.
Why he deserves to be Luffy's right-hand man. Everyone in the Straw Hat crew is loyal. Zoro proves it on a level that hasn't been shown by the other crewmates. It's absolute chills. It is peak One Piece, and I think that is why I'm going to keep it at A tier, even though, like I said, I think overall Thriller Bark is just like a C tier arc. But because like the high points of Thriller Bark just make me forget about how much of a slog other points in the arc it was as well. Brook's backstory, it hit me. But I think Zoro's moment just tops anything in that.
Yeah, we get to see Brook's backstory with them all dying, and we even get the Laboon connection happens in Thriller Bark as well.
Moments even in some S tier arcs for me. Moving on to Shabadi, I would put this
like arc's unreal. That's like an S, dude.
A tier, low S tier. To me, Shabadi is like leveled up Jaya. Shabadi and Jaya hold a lot in common where it feels like, it feels like a transition arc to something bigger. It's very short. They spend very little time in the arc, but it's just Jaya, but like...
Luffy punching the Celestial Dragon alone. That moment alone needs to bring it up to S, buddy. I mean, he's giving it an A+, so he's pretty much there.
With more amazing moments? No, it's S tier. It's S tier. I'm kind of...
Let's go!
The moments in Shabadi.
It takes a second. It's like, dude, them getting absolutely stomped by whatever those fucking things are, the wannabe Kumas, and then actual Kuma showing up and being like, boop, 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 sending them all flying. I'm like, is this the end of One Piece?
Like Jaya, Luffy punches a guy. As hype as the Bellamy punch was,
Briggs likes the One Piece arc. It must be S tier, bro. These arcs are better than like the entireties of other anime. Garrett realizing it was so fun. Yeah, dude, that's unreal. I love this guy.
I'll fucking just up that by 10. Like, holy fucking shit. It was the hypeness of just the worst generation being introduced. You got Kizaru just absolutely flexing on the Straw Hats. You have Rayleigh being introduced. I'm like, now that I'm saying everything, holy fuck.
It was a banger from start to finish.
S-tier arc. I'm just thinking back to just the amount of stuff happening in this arc. Like, you meet Rayleigh, obviously Roger's right-hand man. At the moment that people don't really talk about. There are so many main...
Rayleigh, first shown in like chapter 7 in Orangetown. Oda's a god.
Amazing moments in this arc is the moment where he starts reminiscing about obviously everything that happened. There's 2 moments in his speech that really stood out to me. One was the day that Roger got executed, and he said that he'd never laughed more than he did in his life, and he'd never cried any more than he did in his life. That fucking hit me. My god, that line hit me so much. And then right afterwards, when he's about to spoil the end of One Piece, and Luffy is just like, yo,
no, shut the hell up. No spoilers.
Shut the fuck up.
I'm pretty sure he did that in Baratie too, where it's like, would you like my logbook? He's like, no, I want to go on my own adventure. No, use your adventure. Absolute Chad. Boys, is this where the time skip happens, right? We're going to have to cut this video into a part 1 and a part 2, I think, because I have Isekai D&D happening on Rustage's channel in a second. If you guys enjoy, definitely drop a follow on Twitch, subscribe on YouTube, do all the things. I love you guys. I love you guys so much. I'll see you all next time. All right, Shinpaku.